For LA This Week.
The ultimate goal is to have nearly 1,700 miles of interconnected bikeways throughout Los Angeles. Well, the Hollywood family, as well as the LA City family, lost a great ally when Hollywood insider and the city's expert on the film industry, Tom Sherrick, passed away on January 28th. Tom Sherrick was appointed by Mayor Eric Garcetti in October as the city's film czar. Sherrick is seen here along with the mayor attending a conference at the Loews Hollywood Hotel back in November discussing Runaway Productions. Sherrick spoke with passion about his commitment to helping those in the industry stay employed.
We have to give them jobs. We cannot be dormant in trying to watch production leave because people are giving incentives while our friends and family and relatives and neighbors need work.
Sherrick, 68, reportedly died of prostate cancer. In a statement released by his office, Mayor Eric Garcetti said, "I am devastated to learn of the passing of my close friend and advisor, Tom Sherrick. Tom was a true Hollywood original." The mayor also said in the statement, "In just a few short months, Tom laid a policy foundation that my administration will stand on for the next 4 years. Tom's work will continue through my office and the many charities to which he devoted so much of himself." Less than a week prior to Sherrick's death, Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell delivered his first ever State of Hollywood address, in which he also emphasized the importance of the entertainment industry to our local economy. Here's Anna Marcos.
Runaway movie production will soon be making a U-turn right back into Hollywood if Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell gets his way. O'Farrell delivered his first State of Hollywood speech at Taglian Cultural Center. And yes, the glam industry of making movies was high on the agenda. O'Farrell has already helped form an ad hoc committee to provide local incentives for production companies to film here.
It is part of our identity. It's beyond that, it's 500,000 jobs. It's 500,000 jobs in the county of Los Angeles. Our economy depends on it.
And true to the Tinseltown spirit, each audience member here gets a copy of the latest issue of Variety magazine, which highlights one of the big Oscar contender films of the year. But as the speech makes clear, Hollywood does not live on films alone.
Small businesses employ 3/4 of all workers in the city of Los Angeles.
O'Farrell is supporting small mom-and-pop businesses by championing business tax reform and business-friendly policies. He plans to increase jobs and quality of life for residents and build more affordable housing. Many digital media companies, hotels, restaurants, and nightclubs have already moved in, and a new Target is under construction.
There's a lot of new development underway in Hollywood. That it's going to be very exciting for us. We have 1,400 housing units under construction, 500,000 square feet of office space.
Hollywood, tourist capital, movie capital, economic magnet, is a star whose time has come. And it's got no bigger fan than its own council member who plans to keep making it shine brighter. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
And speaking of boosting the local economy and raising the city's profile, Los Angeles just got passed the baton to host some of America's leading athletes headed to the Summer Games in 2016. Yana Kay explains.
The LA Marathon not only pushes athletes to their limits, but it also highlights some of the city's best features. And now Los Angeles will shine once again after Mayor Eric Garcetti announced that the city will be hosting the 2016 Olympic Team Trials Marathon.
We promise a world-class event that will showcase the best of LA, inspire athletes and fans alike.
Olympic hopefuls from across the nation will descend upon Los Angeles to fight for a spot on the U.S. Olympic track and field marathon team that will be heading to the Summer Olympics in Brazil.
The city of Los Angeles and the LA Marathon put on a impressive bid. We were very, very impressed with the public-private partnership and the collaboration and the enthusiasm and the rich history that the city has for both hosting the Olympic Games and the passion that they have for our sport.
When deciding on where to hold the trials, Olympic track and field officials say they take several things into account, such as the city's facilities and infrastructure, as well as the amount of local support for hosting the event. They say Los Angeles met all of those requirements.
I can't think of a more fitting place
than LA for any event of this magnitude.
It's a great celebration. It's going to be great for all.
The 2016 U.S. Olympic team trials will take place on February 13th and will be broadcast on NBC. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
In addition to existing facilities to be used in the marathon trials, special courses will also be designed. A landmark hotel near Universal Studios is receiving millions of dollars in energy efficiency upgrades thanks to a special program. Gil Reyes reports on the National PACE program and its biggest loan to date.
Major changes to Hilton Los Angeles Universal City. The Hilltop Hotel near the Bright Lights of City Walk is replacing its own bright lights with tens of thousands of new energy-efficient LED bulbs.
Each one of those lights prior to this was a 40-watt bulb, very short life. Today, each one of those lights are only 4 watts each, plus it's a much better light, dramatically reducing the amount of energy we use.
With other upgrades, the hotel is expected to slash its energy costs by $800,000 per year. Hilton can thank the PACE program, or Property Assessed Clean Energy program. It also helped purchase this new air conditioning unit. The program allows the hotel to pay for energy efficiency upgrades through a financing tool guaranteed by LA County. Hilton will then repay the loan slowly over a period of years through property taxes.
The return on investment is so smart. I hope every single competitor, I hope every other business, I hope everybody out there is watching Hilton because they're going to have money in their pocket.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti cheering on Hilton's $7 million makeover. It also includes new windows on the ground floor that automatically dim to excessive sunlight so less air conditioning is needed. Similar windows in all 460 guest rooms and an EV charging station for company vehicles in the garage.
Significant benefits in operation costs, utility savings are dramatic.
I'm looking forward to being able to relaunch a residential program that can go hand in hand with this in conjunction with LA County in the near future.
So that LA City homeowners can also get in on the savings. At Hilton Los Angeles Universal City, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
To see if your business qualifies and to learn more about the PACE program, log on to lapace.org. Some of LA's award-winning entrepreneurs shared their ideas at a banquet atop City Hall. And as Gil Reyes reports, LA's mayor is encouraging the city's industrialist spirit early on.
18-year-old Antonia Castro, a server at Norm's restaurant, used to get blisters on her arm from serving hot plates all day. So she invented an arm protector, similar to this one, that she calls the Cool Sleeve.
It's just a heat-resistant sleeve. It's elastic. It protects my arm, and it's easy to use.
For her idea, she's named 2013's LA Area Young Entrepreneur of the Year at the Ernst & Young's Awards breakfast at Tom Bradley Tower. She hopes to have her product in stores this year.
Becoming an entrepreneur, becoming with that idea, it's mind-blowing. I was raised in East LA.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti wants to foster the inventive spirit in young people early through heightened skills training in middle schools and high schools.
If they know entrepreneurialism, or if they know computer coding, or if they know three-dimensional manufacturing, that they can take their ideas and see them as they graduate come true.
Clarence Daniels and his company CMS Hospitality operate restaurants at LAX. 2013's Entrepreneur of the Year for Consumer Services advises young minority industrialists to join business associations.
There are a lot of great ones in Los Angeles, the Greater Los Angeles African American Chamber of Commerce, the Latin Business Association, the Asian Business Association, because it's through those relationships and information that you'll see the opportunities. Get as much information as you can, meet as many people as you can.
Clarence Daniels of CMS Hospitality's latest idea is to put a Rolling Stone magazine-themed restaurant at LAX, complete with star-studded photographs and rock and roll memorabilia, leaving many people wondering, why didn't I think of that? It all starts with a novel idea before turning that dream into reality. Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Before embarking full-time on her business career, Antonia Castro plans to attend college with the help of her award prize, a $1,500 college scholarship. Well, a look at the recent 2014 LA Art Show. Public art on LA's utility boxes expands downtown, and a local football team honored by city leaders. These stories and more in City Beat. The 2014 LA Art Show recently came to the LA Convention Center. The works of Bordeaux artists from the France-Los Angeles Resident Exchange was on display at the art show, as well as photography from Gil Garcetti, former LA County District Attorney and father of Mayor Eric Garcetti.
We're loving the photography, so we were looking at the bicycles in Paris. That was fun.
I find the guitar is very interesting and colorful.
The guitar the gentleman speaks of is part of Cheech Marin's The Chicano Collection, which was also on display at the LA Art Show. A popular public art project that first started in Boyle Heights has now expanded to downtown LA. A mural of Nelson Mandela and another celebrating Native American history are among newly painted murals that can be seen on 6 Department of Transportation utility boxes along Main and Los Angeles streets at 4th, Winston, and 5th Streets. The downtown installation comes after Councilmember Jose Huizar recently announced the installation of 9 utility box murals along the First Street Arts Corridor in Boyle Heights. The city's recreation and parks leaders break ground on a new green space project in the Watts community. This vacant lot, which had been used as a dumping site, will be transformed into a 1-acre park to be completed by this fall. The future park, located at 114 Monitor Avenue, is a result of a grant from the Prop 84 statewide program. Community members contributed to the overall design with amenities to include a large children's playground, a fitness zone, and even 3 sculptures called Urban Flower by artists of the Watts community to be installed along the railroad tracks. Councilmember Bernard Parks invited members of the Crenshaw High School football team and their coaches to City Hall to celebrate the team's section title win after beating the Narbonne High School Gauchos.
Crenshaw also beat Jefferson, Dorsey, and Venice in the playoffs before taking down a seasoned Narbonne team.
I became a better person because of my coach. He taught me a lot of things, how to grow up and how to just be a man.
The December 6th victory gave a 4th Division I title to Coach Robert Garrett. The Crenshaw Cougars are ranked 29th in the state. An aging bell is restored to its former glory. Rasha Goel has more on why a historic bronze bell is special to the City of Angels.
The Korean Friendship Bell was presented by the Republic of Korea to the U.S. in 1976, honoring Korean War veterans and celebrating the bicentennial of U.S. independence. After bearing years of wear and tear, the bell was recently restored by a team of artisans from South Korea.
It is our responsibility to take care of this gift. And the second gift in the restoration has been an extraordinary act of kindness, of generosity from our dear friends in Korea.
The bell is a revered symbol of friendship and gratitude to both Koreans and Americans alike.
The prized bell was rededicated in Angels Gate Park in San Pedro, where it is housed in a stone pavilion. Joining Mayor Eric Garcetti to ring the bell were Consul General of the Republic of Korea Shin Yoon-sung and LA County Supervisor Don Kanabe.
The ringing symbolic of the bell 13 times for the original 13 colonies.
The restoration of the Korean Friendship Bell preserved the bell's original designs, including Goddesses of Liberty. This rededication of the bell marks another historic moment that will ring for years to come. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The Korean Friendship Bell is struck 5 times a year on Independence Day, Korean Independence Day, Constitution Day, New Year's Eve, and Korean American Day. And in this week's list of things to do, the birds and the bees at the LA Zoo, Lego Day, and everything you've ever wanted to know about boating. The 2014 Progressive Insurance Los Angeles Boat Show cruises into the Los Angeles Convention Center and Pier 44 in Marina del Rey, February 6th to the 9th. Complimentary round-trip shuttle transportation is available between both locations. The 4-day event showcases hundreds of vessels from entry-level family cruisers to million-dollar yachts, plus the latest in boating accessories and gear. For ticket prices, times, and other information, go to losangelesboatshow.com. The LA Zoo takes on the birds and the bees with the provocatively named lecture Sex and the City Zoo 2014. The presentation on Saturday, February 8th, celebrates animal mating, dating, and cohabitating. And just in time for Valentine's Day, the festivities include wine and refreshments starting at 5 p.m. with the lecture from 6 to 7. This event is for adults 21 and older. The zoo is located at 5333 Zoo Drive. More info can be found by going to lazoo.org. And it's Lego Day at the Skirball Cultural Center on Sunday, February 9th from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Backed by popular demand, the Skirball hosts another day of fun and collaborative Lego building with visiting Lego group Lugola. The Lego building also coincides with the museum's exhibit in honor of the architecture of Moshe Safdie, known for his esteemed prefabricated housing project in Canada known as Habitat 67. On Lego Day, you can give it a try, constructing your own imaginative structures. The Skirball is located at 2701 North Sepulveda Boulevard. For details, go to skirball.org. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. Another thing to do, which takes place once a month, are lectures hosted by a group with a keen interest in food and food history. The latest lecture delved into the role perfumes played in the Arab culture. The group, the Culinary Historians of Southern California, which is dedicated to pursuing food history and supporting culinary collections at the Los Angeles Public Library, recently hosted a lecture at the Central Library entitled A Feast for the Nose, the Perfumed Banquet in Old Damascus. Medieval Arab banquets were focused not only on the aroma of the food, but also of the diners who would wash with scented soaps or scented waters throughout the course of the meal.
Some of them were fragrant waters like rose water or orange blossom water. They were distilled, they were water distilled. They were not alcohol distilled like most of our perfumes. The Arabs have never made alcohol-based perfumes, so far as I know. And then there were oil-based perfumes. They were based on an oil called Ben oil, which is the fragrant oil of a particular plant called Moringa oleifera, or the horseradish tree.
Those attending got to smell for themselves perfumes made from medieval recipes. The hands-on experience of the lectures is what keeps bringing Daniel Sylvester and his wife back lecture after lecture.
My wife is interested in this, and we often cook together. And we both love to eat like everybody else. But this one, meeting here was mostly about smells, because that aroma is an important part of food, and also about, sometimes being clean before you eat.
To learn more about the Culinary Historians of Southern California, go to chscsite.org. The Culinary Historians of Southern California has a membership of about 250 men and women, some who work in the food industry, others who hail from the fields of television, theater, or museums. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacitywiew.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We leave you now with some more of the artwork from the LA Art Show. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Bulky item pickup? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall.
Hello, I'm Monique Chambers. I'm sitting here in Larchmont, and you are watching LA City View, Channel 35, our city, our channel.
good morning. It is Tuesday, February 4th. I want to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Council meeting. Madam Clerk, I do believe we have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfeld, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Vizar, Carrasco, Correa, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Weston, Tim, members present. A quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Koretz moves, Parks seconds. Next.
Committee to resolutions for approval.
Weezer moves, Blumenfield seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, today is Tuesday, and now would be the time for the flag salute.
Okay, if I could ask all to rise, we'll be led by Mr. Bonin in our flag salute.
Thank you. Everybody, please place your hands over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's go through the today's agenda.
First, Mr. President, there is a request by member to continue items 1C to March 5th, 1H to March 18th, 1P to February 25th, item 2 to February 12th, and item 3 to February 21st.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order. Next. Go ahead.
Item 1 is an item notes for public hearing. The Department of Building and Safety reports that the lien amount for item 1D should be reduced to $1,313.83 due to receipt of partial payment, and items 1B, J, and O may be received and filed inasmuch as the liens have been paid or rescinded by the inspector.
Okay, and that'll be the order. Mr. Parks.
Yes, I would just like to ask that we've deferred item 2 to February 12th. If we could ask staff if they could get with my office. There was a hour-long documentary on one of our National Geographic channels about bees and Africanized bees and the danger of beekeeping that they may want to include in their study.
Okay, so ordered. If we could please have you get together with the Mr. Parks' office. Okay, now, Madam Clerk, we're back to where now?
Item 1, item 1.
Cards?
Cards on items 1D and 1I.
Okay, let's hold those and vote on the remaining. Let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where now?
Items 4 through 16 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay, member special. Mr. Koretz.
I'd like to call 6, 7, and 8 special.
6, 7, and 8 for Mr. Koretz. Any other? Okay, let's prepare to vote on these items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Mr. Weezer.
President, can we send 16 forthwith, please?
Without objection, forthwith on item 16. That brings us where?
Items 17 through 25 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Okay, without objection, those items are now before this body. Do we have cards?
Cards on items 17, 19, and 22.
Okay, let's hold those.
And 25.
Let's hold that. Okay, any other specials? Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where, Madam Clerk?
Mr. President, that takes council to presentations or items called special.
Okay, I'll just look over towards Mr. Labange and get a thumbs up. Or are you ready, Mr. Labange? Okay, then let's go. We will give the floor to Tom Labange.
And Angela is here. Angela Kaufman, come on over here. And Adriana Miranda, please. Thank you so much. You know, sometimes you work at a place for a long, long, long time, and Mr. President, you don't realize, wow, we don't have something. And basically, we did not realize that we did not have wheelchairs at our disposal right there as an entry for our guests. Someone had lost their balance and needed that kind of help, and I called 1-800-STEVE-SIMON, and boom, it happened together here, all together here. This will be a special presentation to honor the California Active Living Independent and Free, the donation of 2 wheelchairs that will be available to constituents here in City Hall and City Hall East. These wheelchairs, good job, guys, will be located at the security desk and will check in and check out, even in your own offices if something comes up. And it's a little amazing, too, because you don't know until you need one, and there's not one around when the gentleman who was here who needed this particular help. So, Steve, I really want to thank you and the California Active Living Independent and Free, and all their work, which they do, we have commendations for. But say a few words, please.
Yes, thank you, Councilmember. The council member really said most of it. The bottom line is the city has an obligation to make sure all our constituents have access to our services, our programs, and facilities. It's an ongoing, it's an evolving process, and now we'll have these wheelchairs available with a sign-out process at the security desks at City Hall and at City Hall East. We will look at the usage patterns in about 6 months, determine if we need to have more of them or a different process for accessing them, whether other points of public contact should have a wheelchair available to loan out. And again, we have to thank our community partners, CalLife. They are providing these, they're loaning these to the city right now, and again, we'll assess that need in the future. So I'd like to quickly have Lilibeth Navarro say a few words. She's Executive Director of CalLife, and Yolanda Ramirez is also joining her Program Director.
Okay, good morning, members of the City Council. We just would like to tell you that we're at your service. Our residents of Los Angeles, we have a full-service independent living center, and this is just a glimpse of what we can offer. So to help our residents to live independently in the city of LA, one of the resources we have is called the assistive technology, which is all the, the modern equipment that not only people with mobility impairments, but the blind, the hearing impaired. We have computers that talk. We have computers that actually do interpretation, high-end computers, so they can come. We have a computer center there too. So we are at your service. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lilibeth.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Labange, could I interrupt and call on one of our colleagues, Mr. Huizar?
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Labange, Councilmember Labange, for bringing this to our attention, to the city's attention. I want to thank the Department of Disability for all the work you do. And I want to highlight one special event you do each and every year, and that is our Deaf Festival. And this past September, both myself and Council President Wesson helped host that. But it's just incredible to see the hundreds, if not over 1,000 people who show up to that. It's one of the largest events like that in the country, and our city puts that on. So you guys are doing incredible work, not only to make more people aware of the work we have to do at a policy level, but putting on these events also sends tremendous message to the city that we're trying to do all possible to include all Angelinos in everything we do in the city. So thank you so much, Mr. Labange, and thank you to the department.
Okay, Mr. Labange, back to you.
And I just want to say, I recall it took me a moment, Mr. President, when we honored Dr. George last year. Dr. George, remember the great weatherman from Channel 2? He needed a little help because of the walking, and we looked for a wheelchair. And so one of these chairs is going to be called George, and the other one's going to be called Georgette. So that's good. Thank you, Mr. President. Lilibeth Navarro, thank you. And Yolanda Ramirez, your angels in the City of Angels. Give them a big hand.
Thank you all so very, very much. Let's go to item 17. That was called Special by Batman. if you would please come and speak on item 17. We're going to start taking your time. Come forward.
It would be polite if we could have the courtesy to move away from
No,
the podium.
look, this is stay on the item, Mr.
I am on the
Herman.
item, and the item has to do with rent escrow. And the same reason you're going to have many people here speaking about the violations and the citations placed upon their properties, once again, by whom? Building and safety. Building and safety is a hinder to the public and a nuisance to this city. Why do you continue to follow these unridiculous ideas of REAP? It's not working. If REAP was a problem solver, a solution for all of us, then it would work in our best interests. But today, you're going to hear people telling you of their hardships, the negativity of citing people and taking away from them their rights in their homes, because you would rather cite them and have them pay the city, or even better, let's put it this way, the landlord may not have any interest in fixing or making his home for you a better place to live. So the quality of life, not only in your home, but throughout your community, falls apart. So it's always been the same with this city. It has no comprehensive action to fix its problems. And those problems are all here under your REAP program and under your citations placed by Building and Safety. I ask that this city investigate the notification process of citing people. You have not taken the appropriate manner to address notifying people about rent escrow and building safety citations.
Thank you very much. Let's prepare to vote on the item. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Let's move on to item 19, and that's called special by Mr. Herman as well. Item 19.
I'm going to hold my time to 1 minute because I'm offended by these green markers that don't allow us to
Just
sit up
speak
here.
to the item.
I'm going to pass on this item.
Okay, then let's come on. You're disrupting. So no, sergeants, with no back and forth. So please sit down and let's continue. Let's vote on item 19. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Item 22, called special by Mr. Herman. Item 22.
Just yesterday in Boyle Heights, there was a killing on Cesar Chavez. Mr. Weezer can laugh about it, but I don't find it a joke. And in the same manner, protesting across the street by bicyclists. Why? Because we'd rather pay people with rewards to the life and death of your family members. And yet we got a council here who are supposed to be lawmakers, providing a better outlet for our safety when we're on our bicycles or when we're at the nightclub at 1 in the morning having a good time during the Super Bowl, but come out and get killed. So the action to reinstating a reward that yet, if you exhausted the reward, then let it go. So it be. Obviously, you're not doing a good thing for the community or the public because crime prevails. And that's why the injustice of this body of council does not represent the people of Los Angeles, all of you Angelinos. So when you read about situations about giving more permits for drinking.
No, stay
putting-
on this item. Stay on the item. So it deals with the reward.
Putting out a reward for what? The actions that this council has taken away from all of you. A right to safety, a right to freedom, and yet again, $50,000 is a lot of money at a time when the decline of this program here, activity and service, is not rendered and the most appropriate and budget-wise for us all today. So I'm opposed to this. Maybe if you would do a better job of stopping people from killing pedestrians and killing cyclists, then maybe you could say you did a good job for Los Angeles.
Thank you. Okay, your time is up. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, at this time, we're going to call for a vote of reconsideration. Okay, so no, I don't have to reconsider that. You just want to continue it for,
30
is it
days.
30 days?
Yes, sir.
So that will bring us to what?
That brings us to March 7th, which is council recess, so it would be March 18th.
Okay,
And that's
you're,
one eye, right?
you're fine with
Yes.
that? That is one eye.
Thank you.
Let's move on to, we'll go to item 1. Okay, Mr. Does Herman have more time?
1 minute and 38 seconds.
Madam Clerk? Okay, so no, your time's expired. Mr. Willie, no, you're disrupting. Sergeants, please, his time is expired. William Lee. Sino Montanaro, if you please come forward. William T. Lee, please come forward.
I am Mr. Montanaro, and I got property in 2442 Colorado Boulevard, and my tenant, I never pay, and come through to me. Today, I collect $530 a month. I'm self-employed all life. $530 a month, I don't got much money to pay. Can you guys really appreciate help me?
Mr. Weezer, did you want to have staff?
Yeah, if we could hold this on the table, sir, Mr. President, and we'll have my staff go talk to them.
Okay, so we're going to hold this for a moment, and you'll be speaking with Mr. Weezer's staff. Mr. Lee. Okay, Mr. Koretz, as we're dealing with this issue, are you ready for your items? 6, 7, and I believe 8?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Do we have staff here for that, for items 6, 7, and 8? Hi.
Do we have staff? There you are, right in front of me. You're quick. All right, so Mr. Koretz.
Yes, I just have one quick question. In 2012, the council approved good food purchasing guidelines, which, among other things, asked city departments to support the following values: local economies, environmental sustainability, valued workforce, animal welfare, and good nutrition. And it's my understanding that all the contracts that are related need to follow these guidelines. So are the food vendor contracts following the good food purchasing guidelines, and how do we track that?
Good morning, Councilmember Koretz Leachu from the CAO's office.
I just wanted to refer to a portion of the contract itself, and if I can just read it to you. What it says is that the concessionaire is actually required to abide by any and all applicable rules and regulations that's adopted by the city. And so that includes anything that's in force now or which may be hereafter adopted. So they are required to be in compliance with those requirements.
So do we point out to them that these guidelines are in place, and do we have a way to track it to make sure they actually follow through on them?
Agnes Cole, Recreation and Parks. We are working on implementing the good food purchasing policy. One of the items that the department needs to complete is a board report so that the Board of Recreation and Parks Commissioners can officially adopt the policy for implementation.
So there is no current policy
The
that they have
current
to follow?
policy as it was adopted has not been approved by our board for full implementation.
So what's the timeline for that? Will that get implemented in time for these contracts to apply?
Most likely not, since council is taking action today to approve them. Then the 3 concession agreements should be executed very shortly, and staff is still developing the board report for the board's consideration.
So once those guidelines are in place, will these vendors have to follow them, or because the contracts were approved first, they're exempt from following them?
As the CEO analyst reiterated, all concessionaires would have to follow any policies that are adopted even after their concession agreement has been approved.
And once they are approved, how will we track them to make sure they're actually following?
There are a lot of templates that will be provided to each concessionaire, and we'll be working with them in order to have them completed and vetted to make sure that their reporting requirements meets the city's good food purchasing policy guidelines.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Koretz. If you're done, there are no speakers on the queue. Let's prepare to vote on this. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Thank you very much for being here today. Okay, now, if we could continue, Madam Clerk, item 1I, it's 1D, for 2 weeks.
That's February 18th.
And that's per Mr. Weezar's request. We're going to take a few public comment cards at this time. We're waiting on an amendment.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Labange.
I've been informed by my staff that 1L has been requested to continue for 2 weeks. We may have to reconsider it because of.
Okay, let's vote to reconsider for reconsideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Labange, that's before us. You wanted this continued until when, sir?
2 weeks.
2 weeks again, Madam Clerk. That is
February 18th.
Okay. So now we'll move forward and do the general public comment. Barry Johnson, are you here today? Mr. Herman and Donna Pearman.
Barry
Yes, sir.
Johnson, Studio City Residents Association. Today is the second time item 2 has been continued. I've been here both times. I'm a freelance employee. When I am not able to work, I tell my employer I am not available, and therefore I'm not working today because I'm here. I don't know if there's an easy answer to this, but every time I come here and you continue it to another day and I'm unable to speak to an item, I lose a day's potential pay, and that's what's, again, happened today. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Herman?
Mr. President?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Krikorian.
I just would like the record to reflect that throughout the meeting and now when Mr. Johnson was trying to offer public comment to the council, Mr. Herman has been dancing in the aisleway and in the pews of the council chambers here. So if you could please ask Mr. Herman in his Batman mask to stop distracting the council by dancing around the chambers, that would be helpful, Mr. President.
Okay, if you would please, Mr. Herman, control yourself. The mic is yours as of this moment, Mr. Herman.
Squirrely, quirly little cries on the diaper sitters. But you know what? What's offensive is having green tape here saying that the public cannot sit any closer to this podium here. And the worst case scenario is this: the civil rights of homeless people. Yes, homeless people, Mr. Krikorian, as you interrupt me, homeless people have a right, and I'm only talking about 58,000 homeless people, that you are so cruel and acted in an action that's so punishable. By what? Sleeping and sitting on a public sidewalk? Oh my God, give me a break. I'm going to dance, Mr. Krikorian, because I got 2 minutes.
No, look, you speak to the
because
council.
this is general public comment, and this is what's hilarious about all this, is that I can make ridicule on a passive-aggressive note. And John Walsh is right. Yes, heroin is being sold where? In Hollywood. Possibly where? In Mr. LaBonge's area. That's why he's discussing that with his aide who's walking away. It's just awful that Los Angeles continues to be the most offensive, apprehensible city to all you who are visiting. Yes, our sidewalks are not repaired. Our streets are not safe. You go to Cesar Chavez, Mr. Weezer's office, you might get stabbed or killed or shot. Or even better, ride your bike over the bridge from Boyle Heights to what? Downtown Los Angeles. A safe place for all of you to act and behave? No. Ridiculous. Yes. 58,000 homeless people are being what? Banned to sleep on our streets nowadays. And even with the budget that this city has, it cannot correct the problem. There is no transition plan based to correct the problem for homelessness. And I, for the record, say to all of you, Los Angeles and all you Angelinos, hold the city accountable for the action they take against homeless people.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ms. Pearman? Mr. Herman, sit down.
Okay. Anyway, we do need to get rid of the green tape when there's no dog and pony. Anyway, we went to Eric Garcetti's mayor's talk on the Valley and Porter Ranch yesterday. It was crowded with proper advertisement, it would fill up. You can get Van Nuys City Hall for video concerting filled up. And one of the access was accessibility to all City Hall. We need more than several meetings for the people in the Valley to be able to speak on what's near and dear to them. I know Englander and Bloomfield were there. We need to find a cheap way to open Van Nuys video conferencing. With the need for new technology, why not the need for technology to open Van Nuys video conferencing? I want to speak on our neighborhood council has very vocal people discussing Station 39, and some people had another opinion but couldn't speak it. Because they would be harassed. We need video conferencing that they can speak on how they believe. And I also want to talk about, I want to vote out Mike Fuhrer. It's a bad thing for the microstamp on all guns. It's only the rich can afford it. The Middle Ages, only the rich can afford powder loaders. And now with accessibility for more people, we need to keep it with accessibility. Gun companies are being hampered. It won't slow down the criminals, just one more crime to add to it, and only will hurt the law-abiding gun owners. So there's plenty of things to speak on. I can speak about the problems with the buses if they will allow me to be able to speak in the Valley. I'm beginning to hear that there's a lot more people out there, but unfortunately we can't bring it all together, that would like to bring back video conferencing. I know Marion would like to speak it, but you want her to come down with asthma, come all the way down to the City Hall and affect her asthma coming all these hours and all this smog out there. That's not right.
Thank you. Hey, Ms. Pearman, why don't you just stay there? We're going to go to item 25, and you have a card on that. But that concludes our general public comment. We're going to move now to item 25, and that was held by cards and some members. So we're on. If the Department. Chief, if you could come forward, and Ms. Perrin, go on. This is on item 25.
Okay, number 25. Well, I believe that it's good to have batteries or smoke alarms for all different type of people, because we don't want people to die because they have bad batteries. But most of this seems to be rather extravagant, to have high graphics, color monolingual, and like 15 or 20 different languages, and even languages not even put down because they wrote etc. I don't know if that means Pig Latin or obscure languages. We need to be able to have a lot of other people step up to the plate and be able to come up and work with the city and come up with these different languages and campaigns. I don't see why private industry couldn't step up and work out for lots of different languages to come up with safety and come up with what to do in terms of a fire or earthquake. Because I don't understand why you were going to spend because they don't even say how much money, and you don't open up the video conferencing for Van Nuys.
Stay on the subject.
The subject is that you're costing too much money. Let's do the private industry. Let's bring it on in, and let's see if we can work with a lot of these buildings and see if they can get us tax breaks for coming up with these things, so that the taxpayer is not paying for all these different languages when I don't even speak any of those languages. Let private industry help out, and then the federal government can give them tax breaks.
Okay, thank you. Chief, if you guys could come to the center table.
And Mr. President, amending motion 25A has been circulated.
Thank you. Now, Chief, welcome. We've had the 7 deaths in less than a month. There are a lot of concerns and a lot of questions. We as a council, want to do what we can. Coupled with you, we know that your department is working on an outreach program, so this council wants to be a full partner with you. This is one motion where every member of the council would have signed it. I do want to thank Mr. Fuentes and Mr. Bloomingfield, and I think Mr. Cedillo, Chair of Housing, Englander, and Buscaino's, others and Mr. Koretz for getting on this immediately. But why don't you just start giving us some of the facts, where you intend on going on this, and how we can be of assistance to you as well.
Thank you, and good morning, Mr. President, members of the council. James Featherstone, Interim Fire Chief. A little historical perspective. First of all, any death of an Angelino is tragic. To have the number of deaths that we had in the month of January related to fires is a crisis call for us. So historically, in 2010, we had 15 fire-related deaths, 2011, 18 fire-related deaths, 2012, 22, 2013, 21, and in the month of January for 2014, we had 7 fire-related deaths. So that, if you just the simple math on that shows you why we consider it a crisis call. It's not that we are starting a new campaign. We're actually going to redouble our efforts. Nationally, 47% of civilian deaths occur in the first 4 months between December and March. Naturally, due to the colder temperatures throughout the country, so we have more heat-related residential fire deaths. 60% of home fire deaths result in homes where a smoke detector could have prevented those deaths. 37% of the deaths resulted in fires with no smoke detectors, 23% from fires in which smoke alarms were present but failed to operate. All of us as veteran firefighters have been in occupancies where the smoke detector was inoperable, or even smoke detectors were in a charred box on the floor in the debris. So what we're asking in our efforts, and Chief Rueda to my right will speak to some of these efforts, is we're asking the community's assistance to partner with us, with the City Council, the Office of the Mayor, and the Fire Department to become more aware and more educated on what to a large extent in 2014 is a preventable death, and that's residential fire deaths. So we're looking to actually do a number of different issues to reach out to the community, increase the awareness. We've reached out to some of our private sector partners to actually obtain product, so we can actually, for folks who can't afford or don't have the means to get a smoke alarm, we are going to assist them with the actual materials. But we're also looking to reach out, especially to our senior citizens and to our middle school and below student population, to be the ambassadors to carry this message forward. They take the message home, the parents listen to them, pay attention to them, and our seniors who are very vulnerable because of a lot of times mobility issues, we want them to be more aware of the smoke detector issues, smoke alarm issues. Chief Rueda?
I think the Chief's described our outreach very well. He's come up with the idea of 15 minutes for safety. That's going to involve our 106 fire stations outreaching to the community, schools, neighborhood councils, some of the senior centers to provide that public outreach. We also are in the incipient stages of a pilot program to actually offer home fire inspections, which we currently don't do, and potentially distribute that product, actually the smoke alarms that we've received from donations, and potentially distribute those to 2 pilot program communities in the near future. And the third is a series of community meetings citywide to distribute all, public information regarding the importance of smoke alarms. Last Tuesday, we had a fire in the Mid-City area, and what was particularly tragic about that fire was it was not a large fire, and the bracket for a smoke detector was on the wall with the smoke detector removed. And that, as Chief Featherstone mentioned, that was certainly likely a preventable death.
So the 15 minutes for safety is either in the morning or in the evening. Every one of the fire companies would actually park along a well-traveled thoroughfare in one of the schools in their district, and for 15 minutes hand out fire safety awareness materials, smoke alarm information, EDITH or escape drills in the home, that kind of information. We've handed out for years, but the presence of the fire apparatus is a natural attraction for a lot of the school children. The firefighters there on the street to be able to talk to them. 15 minutes, so it doesn't necessarily impact the fire station's routine responses, but to be actually out there and give a presence and say, we're with you, we want to help partner with you, we want to increase the awareness and the education of what smoke alarms can do so that we don't have these, in a lot of instances, needless deaths because of residential fires.
Okay, thank you, Chief. You mentioned that we have already received over 4,000 units. There are a couple of firms that really do this that are the best firms, or there's only 2 firms, or how many produce the fire detectors?
There's several companies that produce smoke alarms. We went back to one of our traditional partners who has actually provided product for distribution before, because they were the easy contact. We're talking with several of not just the producers, but also the retail outlets to be able to give us product we can actually distribute to the community.
Okay, well, anyway, for you manufacturers, we are asking for a product. Please help us out. This council will begin having discussions with the various media outlets throughout the city and county to see if we can get them to partner with us as well. With that said, I have Mr. Labange on the queue.
Thank you very much, Chief, and thank you for the job you're doing, leading the fire department. I flash back when you spoke about that, and you talked about elementary school. I was a junior fire marshal, and I thought that was so important to reach out, whatever the grade is, whether it's 4th or 5th grade, to get home and get involved with that. And I see Battalion Chief Joe Castro here, who's in my district, Battalion 5, and many projects we've done together trying to reach that age. Members, it's a preventable death, and with the science and technology with smoke detectors, it does make a big difference. So all of us should, I'm going to appoint my chief of staff to find a deputy in our office to be ferocious on this issue, because I really thought this year what happened that started was like it just seemed like a change. But the same thing like in spring training. You got to come back and learn how to hit the curveball. You got to come back. We got to remember and preach these things all the time. Coming back, spring forward, fall ahead. Always check your smoke detectors, and it's so important. So I pledge all our support, and if there's anything we do with some of the community organizations, the larger community organizations, to reach out to let the public know, because a preventable death is really something we all should strive for. No one should have this. There was a horrific fire on Burlington or Burlingame. I know. I remember the Poney Square fire when I first was working in 71 or 72 when I was coming through downtown working at a
The
print
Burlington
shop.
fire.
Burlington fire.
Yes, sir.
You know, which really got the whack the way we did something. And the other question, too, do we need to look at it, say, by 2022, instead of battery, every smoke detector should be wired? So we got to look at those things and make it happen, and I pledge my support. And thank you, Mr. Wesson, for your leadership always on this, and especially the Fire Department Chief Frazier as well, and the great Cub from Loyola, Mr. Rueda, the great fire chief, and Chief Arbuthnot, who's not here today, but I wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Chief, for your report. This is obviously an important issue that's been raised in light of the recent tragedies in the last month in the city of Los Angeles. And the fire department needs to make an exerted effort in raising awareness and ensuring that each and every home has a smoke alarm. I'm actually concerned that we have already, 2,000 smoke alarms ready to be activated and given to the community. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
There's a fire station in my district in Watts, 65. They're just sitting there waiting. What's the game plan on launching these and giving these away to the community?
The plan is actually that's what we've worked on, the plan, and the smoke detectors that we have on hand now will be given out starting tomorrow.
Fantastic. And then what are we doing in working with the Fire Foundation and working with our corporate partners to raise money, in addition to raising awareness through public service announcements? We folded them in. I know Karen Wagner has done great work with the Police Foundation. Now she's leading the effort on the Fire Foundation. What's the game plan on that part?
I spoke with the foundation at the board meeting just the other day, actually 2 days ago. Last week, and I talked to them about being able to support us in terms of printed material. We don't have the budget to print in-house, but with the foundation's assistance, it's very likely we'll be able to print out enough material to help support the giveaway of actual devices and also the 15 minutes for safety effort.
And what's our financial ask to the foundation?
We don't know. We've asked for several $1,000s at this time, but we don't know what they will put a limit on what they can actually give us at this time.
It's great that you're in this position. When it comes to fire prevention and emergency preparedness, you are here, Chief, and I'm thankful to you and your team for continuing this effort.
Thank you.
And looking forward to, specifically in my district in the South Los Angeles area, where some of the most neediest communities really need these smoke detectors. Please include us when we launch that effort tomorrow and the coming days, specifically in 65s, that we're willing to promote this and reach out to our constituents.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there are no more speakers on the queue. Chief, we really appreciate you being prepared to come before us today. We look forward to your recommendations in the upcoming days. So, members, at this time, why don't we prepare to vote on this item? Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
And that's adopted as amended.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Clerk, where are we at now on today's agenda?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Okay, they are posted and referred.
That clears the desk.
Okay, announcements, members' announcements. Okay, if Mr. Labange, you have an announcement?
I think we should congratulate the city of Seattle and the Seahawks for a tremendous effort that they did, and know that it's an exciting moment for that city, and wish them well. And also to John Elway, who we love and respect. It's tough for the Broncos, but the Seahawks took it to them.
One of the most boring games I've ever. Anyway, with that said, if all could rise for adjourning motions, unless there are other announcements. Okay, let's start with Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I ask that we adjourn in memory of Victor Manuel Islas, who passed away on November 19, 2013. Victor was born July 11th in Tucson, Arizona, July 11th, 1933 in Tucson. He was a lifetime resident of Wilmington, worked as a route supervisor at Baker Commodities for 37 years. He was a coach and manager of the Carson Bullets men's softball team. He was also a recreation assistant at Banning Park in Wilmington, where he coached many baseball, football, baseball teams, and later served as a youth coach at John Mendez Park. He is survived by his wife of 62 years, Elvira, children Nina, Gina, Victor, 9 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. May Victor rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaino. Members, any other? Mr. Krikorian. No, Mr. Labange.
Yeah, Jimmy Murphy died. I don't know if anybody, but John Farrar who knew Jimmy Murphy. He ran Jimmy's in Beverly Hills. He was a great guy, involved civically. I think we should remember him. And also Walter Mondale's wife passed as well. And during the time when Mr. Carter and Mr. Mondale were president, vice president, the Mondales did come to Los Angeles a lot. I think we should remember her as well. So I thank you. I'll have the paperwork to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Members, any more? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.